So in this video, I wanted to share my opinions on self-diagnosis. If you look on YouTube, some of the most popular videos around mental health are test videos. So depression tests, anxiety tests, bipolar tests, there's a lot out there that you can see. There's also a lot of articles surrounding self-diagnosis when it comes to mental health. Now I wanted to share some of my personal opinions on it. Now, firstly, I think anyone creating videos or raising awareness around mental health is great. But when it comes to self-diagnosis, I think it can become quite dangerous. For me, I personally believe that we should never use any online test to diagnose ourselves with any illness, let alone a mental illness. Now, I'm personally not a professional, and a lot of the videos that I do, the talks that I do, are based upon personal experience. And over the past year, I've been okay kind of holding my hands up sometimes and not being able to answer a question that I don't feel qualified to answer. Now, I think it's really important that we only use a professional. We only use someone qualified to diagnose us with a mental illness. I really can't see how answering a series of questions or looking at a series of statements and answering them in our heads can help us decide whether or not we have a form of mental illness. I think it's quite dangerous, and I think self-diagnosis isn't something that we should be doing. Now, I can't stress enough how individual mental health is, and we are all so different, and the problem that I see a lot of people facing is there is no one size fits all approach to mental health. The way that I dealt with my dad's suicide, the way that my dad ended his life, the way that I grieved, the way that I struggled maybe with depression after that as well, is going to be very different to the way that you might or someone else might. And there really is no one size fits all approach that we can take to mental health. So with mental health being so individual, I can't see how any test that asks us a series of questions can determine what we are struggling with, what we are suffering with, what illness we have. So as I've kind of said, any awareness around mental health is great, but I would honestly, if you're watching this, maybe steer away from trying to use any of these tests to help self-diagnose maybe what you're feeling and what you're going through right now. But I don't want this to be completely negative. I mean, is there any positives to these kinds of tests? And for me, I can understand why they're so popular. I can see exactly why a lot of people watch these videos or do these tests, and it's because of the shame, the stigma, the discrimination that still surrounds mental health. How many people are still suffering in silence? How many people are turning to YouTube or Google because they're afraid that they're going to go to their doctors, or they're afraid of telling a family member, or they're afraid of telling their boss at work because of the shame, discrimination that still surrounds mental health? The reason why these videos and these tests have so many views and so much attention is it's because of that. We still don't feel that we can walk into a doctor's surgery. We still don't feel that we can open up to a family member and get them to support us with our mental health. And another reason why I think these tests might be popular, and I hate saying this, and of course this is case by case, I'm not saying that every doctor, every expert is wrong, but there's still such a lack of research, such a lack of understanding, such a lack of support and options for treatment, that sometimes as well, I don't think maybe going to the doctors is even going to get you the right diagnosis. Now that doesn't mean that I'm saying don't go to the doctors. 100% go and seek professional help if you're struggling with your mental health. I can see why people are turning to these tests because of the lack of research, funding, support that surrounds mental health. And a lot of people are going to try and seek that help now. They're having to wait 8 months for therapy. They're having to wait a long time for suitable options for treatment. But personally, just to summarize this whole video, I would honestly suggest that you don't use these tests to diagnose a mental illness. You seek professional help. You get help from the professionals. Also as well, get help from others with experience. When I know in particular when I lost my dad to suicide, I felt like that I was the only one going through that. And I didn't want to talk to my mum because I felt like I'd burdened her. She just lost her husband. I didn't want to talk to my brother, the same reason. And I felt very alone. But looking at it now, knowing what I know now, there are so many people out there that have experienced the same thing. And there's this huge support network out there of people that are dealing with mental health themselves. So definitely surround yourself with people that can help you professionally, people that know how you feel, that have experienced it as well, and also people that are positive, people that will boost you up. And then lastly, I would also say that recovery takes time. There's no test that will cure a mental illness. There's no pill that will make you automatically feel better. There's no diet. There's no one therapy session that's going to cure all of your problems. Recovery definitely takes time. And I think even as well, just improving your overall mental health takes time. It's nothing that we can just change overnight with a switch of a button, and no test, no one video is going to be able to help that. So honestly, use it as you want. That's just my personal opinion on self-diagnosis and depression tests, anxiety tests online. But I'd love to know your thoughts. So please let me know in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to engage with me at any time. Please share your thoughts. And finally, remember that you are not alone.